Hello and welcome to Academy Playoffs. It is day one and we're about to get into it. I'm Rivington Business III, joined here by my friend Joshua Joshi Howard as we are about to get into the action, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's almost yelling time, Riv. We've been waiting for a while and it's just around the corner.
I'm excited. Let's jump into the format now as we get into Academy. It is different than LCS, so a little bit of a reminder or refresher. This week we will commence our quarterfinal matches where the victors await Cloud9 and TSM Academy, who actually seeded into the semifinals, so they get to be lazy for a week, but sure, they are going to be watching their competition. Tomorrow, EG and 100 Thieves Academy face off, but today we see our first best of 5. It's Counterlogic Gaming versus Golden Guardians Academy, and that's the match we are going to be talking about as we come into this one. Golden Guardians has been pretty dominant throughout the season. Counterlogic Gaming finding themselves back in playoffs, and these teams having a back and forth split to split, so it's good to see where they are now, and we have to talk about the last time these two teams met. Golden Guardians won that.
Yeah, they were able to bring out the Xayah, and, CLG brought out the Xayah, and unfortunately didn't have a whole lot of success, but we got to pay attention to how much damage and how much of an effect Zion Spartan had in that game. We've been seeing compositions like the one CLG brought out here, very focused on front-to-back team fighting, very focused on having these big engage tools, and this limited kind of strategies that they actually have might come back to bite them in the series.
You know, you can only put so much variation to an engage comp. They found it. They've been switching up the roster quite a bit, but also that may cause some synergy issues. So we'll see if they can, in the best of 5, just weed those out, find that engage comp they want, and maybe give us some more Vi. Looking at the CLG lineup check-in today, it is going to be Fragus and Tuesday, as we actually don't see Polebelter available on that list.
Yeah, we saw both these guys, Fragus and Tuesday, having a little bit of an opportunity to play on the LCS stage this last week. Yeah. Unfortunately, they both kind of struggled to have a lot of impact in their games, but they were playing against some pretty tough opponents. But this time, we're going to be spending a lot of time focusing on how Tuesday actually does in the mid lane, because he's got some tough competition going up against a Blaze Olive.
That he does. As well in the top lane as well, we'll start with Zion Spartan. This guy has just been absolutely stellar throughout the entire split. He's able to play split pushers now. He's got a lot of number ones throughout his categories, and he's just ringing the bell across the board on being able to dominate his opponents.
And we have to remember, this is a league where we have some powerhouses. Huni, Solaz are just a couple of the names that are in this Academy League. And Zion Spartan, he's able to outshine all of them, and he's been having a fantastic split.
And it's, as you mentioned, in the mid lane as well, it synergizes with what a Blaze Olive has been doing. And I think this is kind of the biggest disparity we have in this matchup is a Blaze Olive versus Tuesday and how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I think just looking at it, a Blaze Olive, Zion Spartan, both these solo laners, you see they are doing fantastic before the 15-minute mark. They are having such a strong laning phase, and it's been really setting up the rest of the team for a whole lot of success as they transition into mid game, because they tend to be ahead gold, they tend to be ahead experience, and they also tend to be ahead these neutral objectives.
Well, maybe Counterlogic Gaming can find a little bit of synergy through having the players they did go to LCS. You know, back half of the split, teams will try things, but those few days hearing comms in LCS, different ways of going about things can sometimes put a different face on what you're doing, and it feels a little bit more fresh going in. So maybe CLG is kind of having that mentality and looking to see what they do. Like I said, both these teams have been kind of struggling to get themselves into playoffs and splits past. Now we see them coming in. We have to remember, in a different composition, Counterlogic Gaming was playing Cloud9 Academy in the 2018 summer for first and second place. So they can get there. They've done it. We've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You got to compare where these guys were in previous splits to where they are now.
Yeah.
They both missed out on the playoffs in spring. CLG was actually in 10th place, and now, while they're going into the playoffs right here, they didn't get to the semifinals immediately, but it's just such a huge jump for them, and I'm also excited to see that Raz has been having a fantastic time with the Golden Guardians, and again, another team that didn't make playoffs, now making playoffs and going to have an opportunity to strut their stuff against some of the best teams in the league.
I think it's been awesome to see the growth of these teams. We see, as we said, a Blaze Olive being able to carry a little bit. Zion Spartan showing a bit more flex on the things he can carry on. I mean, every time I hear, say, Zion Spartan, I think of Jax womping on turrets. So seeing him on the Camille, going for the split pushers, maybe bringing out some Vladimirs. We've seen some bans from that lately, but probably not. I feel like Golden Guardians is going to have quite a bit to pull out today. And with CLG's comp of initiation, it is tried and true to the way that they do things. You can have a few lanes that go behind in CS if you have a tanky top, and like we were talking about earlier, you said Galio mid, which is great for Tuesday, but the jungle and the bottom have to carry.
Yeah, I think you touched on it a little bit here. We got these two very different styles of teams coming in today. Obviously, we've already touched on Zion Spartan. He's got a couple of champions that have gotten some small buffs on 10-16, like the Fiora, the reduced cooldown on the Q, the Jackson, the reduced cooldown on the Counter-Strike. They're going to have opportunities to be much more aggressive, but they got to make sure that the rest of their composition can stand up to this hard engage that CLG is looking to bring out. And we're already getting into champion select. It's a couple globals already taken off the field.
As you can see, the 4th versus 5th seed. Number 1 and 2 get to rest easy here in week 1. And a bit of poke getting taken out for globals on the other side as another one gets taken. There's the Galio you were mentioning, Joshi.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, CLG, it's kind of interesting to watch because even watching through their games recently, it feels like they don't tend to make a whole lot of large plays on the map. They tend to be focused on moving around as a group, and that's where they find a lot of success. And denying those champions that can give them the easy access to move around, gonna help out quite a bit. But this Caitlyn, one of the strongest champions in League of Legends at the moment, the first pick already coming out for Keith. And I wonder what Win is going to respond to it with. Ashe still very strong, even despite the small nerf she received on this patch.
Taking their time. There's the Azir. So, they just want to blind it right away. Tuesday says, I feel comfortable. I know I can shuffle these fights. The laning phase won't be a problem because I know they can't come at me with a Galio. They can't be ganking me with a Pantheon if it decides to roam from bot, if that's where it goes. So now a second pick here for Counterlogic Gaming, as they have pretty directed bans here to start. And this engage comp maybe put together a little bit more with one more pick. Okay, so more of a pick comp to skirmish with to start off, and maybe may come to a good fight comp.
Yeah, it also gives me some throwbacks right away to the series we just finished watching in Golden Guardians versus TSM. Bjergsen blind picked the Azir a couple times, and it got stuffed pretty hard by the Ziggs from Demonte. I mean, they do share a coaching staff. This is something that they might be willing to bring out, even if they haven't done so far this split. It's a very strong champion. I wouldn't be surprised. It has the exact same strengths. But instead, they're going to be grabbing the Thresh for themselves, going to be throwing that down. You've got to remember, Wind on this Jhin, fairly immobile.
Absolutely. And Chime grabbing that Thresh up from the selection of Hard, be able to step in front of a lot of attacks there. Doesn't mind taking a few hits. Chip off the old Thresh. And a Graves, pretty aggressive comp. If Golden Guardians do get out of the laning phase well, they can start rolling through with the power of Graves, and it will be locked in here. That's going to be pick number 5 for Chime on Graves. Oh, I'm sorry, on Thresh, as I continue to look back and forth between everybody's champions. And that's pick number 6, I should say, for Hard on Graves. So they are going pretty good comfort picks here to start things off. Yeah,
it's pretty interesting to see what they're willing to commit to. Deus actually going to be moving away from some of the things he is well known for. I mean, we've been seeing a ton of Ornn coming out from this guy throughout the split. He has got a couple games on Gangplank, a couple games on the Vladimir as well, but already just throwing it out. It seems very confident coming out from Deus this early, especially considering how much he struggled against the #1 top laner in Academy so far.
I think it's a big momentum move, as you were saying, and why relegate a guy to tank duty? If he gets pushed in, he's going to feel bad. He's going to feel pressure for a second game. But if he can come out on this Gangplank game 1, he's rolling. He's feeling good. I like setting him up for that position, and we'll see if Deus can make it happen. Still, second ban's coming through. There's the Vladimir that could have been picked up by Zion as he loses 2 with that Camille as well in first ban phase. Blitzcrank, we were joking, would be kind of first pick here coming through. Not even. They will take it away, and at Corki is going to be banned away. One more here for the side of Golden Guardians. Could focus that support side, make sure nothing else funky gets through like a Bard, but we'll see what comes through.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's one of the things that I place a huge premium on as I look across different compositions that people are going to be bringing. Just having that primary engage. It can be a hook champion. It can be ultimate coming from a Sejuani or an ultimate from a Bard. And currently, CLG, with both the Blitzcrank and the Nautilus taken off the table, are missing 2 of the big potential hard engage champions that they have. And so I you know, it's not necessarily the best lane. Jhin and Bard, if you do get some opportunities to put some damage down, it's really good. But this is a champion we haven't been seeing a whole lot recently, and I'm really liking it. It would be his first time playing Alistar this split. Oh, Morgana.
Switch. I was going to say that Caitlyn, you're asking to just take damage the whole lane as you go in for relics, but he switches it up. They have the shield, so now they can kind of bait out some hooks, keep Jhin safe. You were talking about the mobile play there for the AD carry. This can be circumvented now slightly and even make Deus a little bit more controlled on the engages. Now that's what I'm looking for Counter Logic Gaming.
Whoa,
we said engage comp, engage comp, engage comp. Tryndamere! Zion Spartan locks in Tryndamere! Oh, we're kicking it back, ladies and gentlemen. This is when his teacher called him Zion Spartan, okay? This isn't like revamped Zion Spartan 2.0. This is Pepperidge Farm remembers Zion Spartan. And we're going to see if the Echo gets locked in the mid lane too. They're going for the death-defying comp on the side of Golden Guardians. And we'll see. I was saying, where's the engage for Counter Logic Gaming before my mind got blown and just oozed out of my ears at what I saw from Golden Guardians' awesomeness in their last 2 picks. Joshi, what do you make of this?
Yeah, this is a really interesting composition that Golden Guardians are going to go for. I was already talking about how they were kind of going to be looking at Zion Spartan to split push, but already both these teams are coming at this game hard. They're going to be going for such a different style of gameplay, and there's a ton of tools on CLG to keep Golden Guardians at bay, but the tools available to them, Gangplank's going to struggle to actually deal with his Tryndamere later on in the game. He doesn't have a whole lot of ways to outplay somebody who's just in your face auto-attacking you, so we'll see how effectively Deus can actually do in this game. It's so weird because I just mentioned all the disengage tools that CLG have in their composition, but at the same time, if the backline gets jumped on, at that point, like, they're gonna blow up instantly. They don't have a sustain.
I'm so excited because little fights are put together with these teams, right? You have the Gangplank, he can ult from anywhere. The Skarner got his black shield from the Morgana. The Echo and the Trin, they can go in, they can be dive buddies, they can be bash brothers and try to get out alive and create chaos. Trin can be doing that alive, and Echo can create the pressure in the split push. As we said, Zion has been split pushing his face off. #1 in a lot of categories. CSD at 15, CSD in his lane overall. And safe bot lane, Kate Thresh versus Jhin Morg. I think we're going to see a lot of action across the map and maybe a few visits bot.
For sure. I'm excited to see where the jugglers are going to be spending their time. Now, the interesting thing that I do want to go back, we keep touching on it because I think it's going to define this series, is the difference between the split pushing composition and the team fighting composition. And normally, the team fighting composition needs to have these really obvious go buttons, this really big opportunity to start a big fight. This is your Bard, your Malphite, your Nautilus that you can potentially lock down multiple people with. But this time, they have a Skarner. You can only grab one person with Skarner's ultimate, so it might be a little bit more difficult to get the big team fights going that you're really looking for. And so I think it's really going to be on CLG to show that they have what it takes to play this composition, play this style of game, even if they don't have all of the big tools that they're potentially looking for.
And even with the safety of Caitlyn and a few others, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cleanse coming out to start. And you mentioned that a Quicksilver Sash, right? If you fall behind a Skarner is another thing you have to face. So you're right. I feel in saying there isn't a strong go button there. They kind of have to lead that fight up. They have to control vision. You can't just walk into the lane with Skarner and poke people out. They're going to walk away. And this team of Golden Guardians can keep distance. They're getting ready to load up. We're going to be stepping away to build game delay now, but we will come back with the start of the game in just a few to start Academy playoffs. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone and welcome back to Academy Playoffs. I'm Riv, joined by Joshi here as we are about to get ready for a game. That's going to be League of Legends. Counterlogic Gaming versus Golden Guardians. And Joshi, I want to let you loose here. We have a Trynd in the top lane. Talk to me about it. Let me know what we could see, what could happen. Hit me.
All right, Tryndamere, one of those weird champions that you don't tend to see a whole lot outside of solo queue. We don't see him a whole lot in the professional play, and I just want to take an opportunity to remind everybody what this champion is likely to do throughout the course of this game, partly in terms of some of the builds, because there are a couple different ways to build this champion. Now, if you haven't seen this guy in solo queue recently, his first build with a significantly better win rate than anything else he does is actually going to be going Essence Reaver. And I know, Riv, you're looking at me, he's like, but Josh, that's a mana item. That's what he's going to build for everything else. But you have to remember, even without that passive, this item is insanely gold efficient. It's 120% gold efficient before you even take into account the mana regeneration. It has everything Tryndamere could want. Attack damage, critical strike, and cooldown reduction to make both his heal and his dash on a lower cooldown. And then to follow it up, to make him even more annoying, you can very quickly hit that 40% cooldown reduction by immediately afterwards going for a Trinity Force, which again, wow, this has more mana on it, but it doesn't matter. Trinity Force is also nuttly gold efficient. It's got a great build path. You have a lot of small components that you can get on the way in order to actually make sure that you are continuously getting stronger. And allows you to chase down that gangplank like nobody else's business. So I'm excited to see what exactly he wants to do. There is a Ravenous Hydra build, which I will talk more about if it actually comes up in this game.
But you're expecting Essence Reaver into Triforce?
Yeah. There you go. It's so good. 40% cooldown reduction, a ton of base stats, and allows you to actually participate in some of these team fights if you really want to. But we've already touched on that. I think that's CLG's thing. Golden Guardians looking to allow Zion Spartan and a Blaze Olive to run amok in the side lanes.
I feel like this works well for Zion. Remember, this guy used to sometimes just play Nasus, and he knows his role. He stays there, he split pushes, he doesn't kind of just join the fight offhand. We saw that for a little bit during the Maokai phase, but the team was team fighting more so, and now back to his old ways of just split pushing. Do not leave this guy alone. You can't for a moment. So I expect to see a bit of pressure top. Not that they have that much crowd control to really gank him with, unless you're going to hit him with a crystal and really slow him into submission. If you can really keep hitting him down for long enough. But there's going to have to be attention top. I think the Morgana could come into play big again if we talk about how the vision works for Counterlogic Gaming. They have to walk their fights in. They're going to be a little telegraphed from here on out. So if they don't have the Fog of War to hit Dark Bindings or get a Flash and Black Shield onto Skarner, I don't think they're getting into many fights if they don't win lanes.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and you touched on it a little bit right there. I'm hoping to see a lot of Fragis up in the top lane, but as you said, it's tough to lock down a Tryndamere unless he uses his spin aggressively, and as long as Zion Spartan is playing passively, playing smart, if he has some vision to play with, then it's going to be very difficult to actually shut him down, and this Tryndamere only gets stronger as the game goes on. And that's also true of a lot of characters on this Golden Guardians composition. The Echo, fantastic later in the game. You build enough AP, it doesn't matter what kind of defensive tools you have, he's going to blow you up. And Caitlyn, I mean, I don't think I need to tell you, Riv, we just saw what Caitlyn can do in the hands of FBI. We're going to see if his Academy counterpart can do it.
I love what that kid's doing in the LCS. It's so awesome to see. And again, speaking to where these teams are coming from as we kind of set up the trials and tribulations they've been through, last summer into spring was not so hot for Chronologic Gaming with an 8th and a 10th, and not respectively in that order, and now they find themselves pulling themselves up a little bit back into the playoffs, and that's with roster changes throughout the split, right? That's never easy for someone. We usually see teams that stay steady, do a little bit better, but they've still been able to find more ground than usual with those changes, with kind of changing communication. And we talked about this a second ago, is with Frogis and Tuesday going up for a moment to LCS, those few moments, the practices, the games on the stage can up your communication, can kind of put a fresh face on the way you're taking to the game. So that may help them coming back down, adding a bit more communication to the team, or just in a different manner to keep CLG on track.
Yeah, I think it is always important to see what happens, and it can be really refreshing to just get a new perspective on the way that you're playing. Sometimes the way that your coach is going about things, it's like you get it, but it's not necessarily clicking, and then you just finally decide, like,
yeah,
hey, let's go play solo queue with some other people for like a day, and then you're like, oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. It finally clicks, and if we're lucky, we'll see CLG bring that to the stage today. Man, I want to talk a little bit about the bottom lane for a moment, because it is going to be a little bit interesting. Jhin has been coming out as a counter pick to predominantly Ashe a lot of the time in the bottom lane, and now that he's going up against Caitlyn with the Morgana, there is actually a ton of gank assist down here on the bottom side of the map as we get into game. And so, while we just talked about, I would love to see Frogis up in the top lane, bullying Zion Spartan around, it might be easier for them to actually snowball the game through Wind and Phil, but we'll have to see what he chooses to do as Frogis getting invaded upon. I wonder if Hard is going to spot out this ward super early.
We're on the Rift. Let's see what these teams now have for each other. Again, CLG kind of trending away from that full engaged comp to start things off, at least from the comps they've been putting together. You can still see Frogis try to get himself in there with a shuffle from Tuesday. A lot of that can cause chaos, though. We'll have to see. I feel like their windows of opportunity, as I said, will be small. Let's see if they can use a little counter logic to get in on those.
Yeah,
so Cloud Drake is going to start us off.
Something small just happened, and I'd have to double check on this, but I believe Zion Spartan is actually going to hit level 2 off of the first wave because he got that ward kill and only shared experience with one person, which as a top lane main is always scary when your opponent hits level 2 before they're supposed to. And it might make the window of opportunity to play in the top lane even smaller than they were expecting.
I mean, he went in hard for that ward, so he knows where Frogis is, so he could punish getting a level, or he could use the advantage, I should say, of getting a level 2 first. Look, he's going to head up here to get this wave, so should really farm it too differently. If he can get the first wave just as Deus does, that should click in correctly. We'll see if he uses that aggro. Deus using a few of those grass pits already to just take some off Zion, but it'll be for nothing, obviously.
Yeah, having no mana, pretty good on Tryndamere, but this is important. That ward that we saw Zion Spartan put down does actually spot out Frogis as he moves to the top half of the map, which, one, it's going to allow Zion Spartan to play safer in his lane, knowing that his jungler's on the far side and Frogis is here. But it also is going to allow Hard to go into his opponent's side of the jungle and take away that blue buff, take away the Grom. And then, if Frogis doesn't get the idea that that's exactly what Hard is doing, it's going to allow him to go back in his own side of the jungle and farm that out as well. So the small early game plays coming out from Golden Guardians could be huge as the Blaze jumps onto Tuesday. Just a little bit of damage.
It pops that electrocute, but may take a little more than he wanted on the way out from the soldiers, plus the cannon wave being the one he chose to go in on there to get some aggression out of Tuesday. Parallel convergence. No way Tuesday stands in that. Blaze gets his shield up. Again, a cannon firing back with quite a bit of damage to trade in, and Hard now double buffs here. Smoke screen to start, and the shuffle still there for Tuesday to get himself to safety. So already starting to see a bit of action around the map. Looks like Wind will try to trade back some damage here as they go for farm in the bot side of the map.
I really like what Hard is doing so far. Even though he showed walking through the mid lane one, he's going to allow a Blaze Olive to cheat a recall, leave, and come back into lane without having to blow his teleport. At the same time, he pushes Frogis away, and it's going to allow Hard to take the entire side of the bottom jungle, but now Chime getting caught. Teleport.
Quick hook out there. There's going to be Echo coming in, and Blaze Olive just says, I'm returning. We'll leave it at that. Thank you. I'm heading out. They did not decide to engage as well. Deus got to back without TPing as he made the long walk back himself. And now he has the coal to just farm it up. He expects it to be quite slow versus Zion Spartan's Tryndamere. So he says, get more money out of it. I'm a betting man.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like so much was just set up by Golden Guardians, and then they kind of end up doing very little with it. The teleport not going to be getting them a whole lot. It didn't seem like something CLG were committing to. And I was just talking about how I love to play from hard, allowing a Blaze Olive to go back to lane without using the teleport, but that advantage has disappeared. But at the end of the day, we still gotta praise Golden Guardians for being able to put hard in such a dominant position as he's clearing out his entire side of the jungle. But this is also an interesting spot as a Blaze Olive potentially finding Froggus.
Zion going hard. Level 6 got to be close for him at this point. They throw a bit of damage in for Blaze Olive here. Goes into the Paralock Convergence first to take the turret damage. Gets himself out, but Froggus is going to join in. Doesn't have any CC to offer, though. He gets there as quick as he can. He starts pincering. He pushed him off.
Oh, Riv, I keep getting my heart rate going so high, and then I keep feeling it just like disappear as these two teams are testing each other out. They're like, oh, I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna fight you. Then they don't actually go for the fight, and as all is said and done, like, we have to pay attention to what is actually coming through at this point. You look in the mid lane, and Blaze Olive has given up a lot as Chime finds another hook. Just going to be tapping his opponent. But yeah, Blaze Olive, he's down 15 CS. That's a lot. Like, Echo doesn't have a great early game, but it's still a lot of gold to be giving over to an Azir who has a fantastic late game. And I'm worried.
It's a few of the mistakes top side. I mean, it's a gank. You want to go for a gank. The teleport bot lane when there was already a push by Tuesday on the mid side of the map, so losing a bit of lane control for the fights that also didn't bear any fruit for him have not paid off. A corrupting potion and a bit of ability power is what he's working with to try and get damage down onto Tuesday, as Tuesday now comes back with that Phoenix Codex for himself. Feeling a bit better. Marksman still had to get back.
Oops. A little bit of damage put down on Chime. I mean, we did talk a little bit. We set up opportunities. Chime.
Oh, flash forward from Wind as he goes into the fight. He thought the force shot was going to kill him right away. He still goes down, but Chime's got himself in the frying pan here. His own dark passage cannot get him to the light, but he's going to play the alcove game. I have had a lot of alcove escapes. He will not find that one, as he was dead to rights anyways. Another gank on a Deus as he used his flash last time. Zion Spartan going Undying Rage, and he's alive because he can't die. And that's going to be a play on the top side as the next wave is coming in. They just, troll by minion. Unfortunate.
Unlucky.
Oh no!
He's good. He's good.
He had the heal. He's baiting us. That's how good he is. He's like, the casters are going to scream right here. Haha. All right, he's going to get that plate. 7 minutes on the clock. This is CLG's, though, on the bot side is, again, hard focus from hard Zion and the Blaze Olive towards that top side of the map.
Oh, that was close coming out from Chime, but yeah, they actually finally find the small advantage, and this is going to be playing right into all the things that Golden Guardians want to do later on in the game. We actually see Zion Spartan going for the Tiamat as his first item here, going to be trying to make sure he can push Deus in, deny opportunities for this Gangplank to farm, because as we just saw, it is very hard to survive dives from Tryndamere and Echo now that they both hit level 6. Zion Spartan goes invulnerable, a Blaze Olive completely drops it out, and we'll take a look at it right here. Zion Spartan, when he starts it off, gets a little bit of damage down, so he's going to be tanking the turret, but he knows he's not worried about any of this at all. He's got vulnerability, flashes forward, gets the last auto attack, and a Blaze Olive that entire time completely untouched from damage, and they can do that in reverse coming up very soon. A Blaze Olive still has his ultimate, so Deus has got to be very careful, and they got to get some ward support for him before that'll happen.
That would be the worst. Every time Deus sees that coming up, he probably just sighs to himself and wonders how he can tiptoe his way out of that situation. Zion stealing some jungle, good top ward, giving this vision over. Zion's coming up on that Undying Rage once again in just a few seconds. It just hit, so he can try to take the fight. And with him standing still, I think they know that this is a bad chase. He puts down the Mocking Shout, and he's going to be forced to flick out of that one, but he still has ultimate. holding this one strong. So Zion really pushing Trynd to the limits here, and Fragus and Deus knew exactly what was going down as soon as he didn't move.
Yeah, did you feel the dominance coming out from Zion Spartan? He just stood there. He's just daring CLG to actually fight him because he knows how long he can survive. Hard was nearby. They know they have an opportunity to go for this fight, but again, all around the map, small things are happening. The hook lands. I don't think Time's going to follow it in. He wants to. He wanted to, Riv. They didn't actually end up doing it. But now Zion pushing through. Here comes the gank from Fragus, but also a counter gank potentially from Hard.
Watching around. Impale is up. Could be Hard first. Just decides to lock him down with a crystal lockdown. And a nice denial of vision onto Deus. So, but Fragus, he's relegated up here, right? He's got a lot of duty to protect Deus now. He's just staying. He's like, well, if it's going to be these two, I'm sure Blaze Olive, since we can't see him pushing mid now that he's on the turret, he would have been top and probably diving again. It's something they have to worry about all the time. We talked about CLG's game being about vision, and it's going to have to be about vision before they get Morgana out of lane to start those dark bindings from the Fog of War, and it's not happening yet. Going to be about 1,000 gold lead creeping up here as gold's starting to tick over. 1,300 in the pocket of Zion Spartan as he already has a Tiamat and is just pushing Deus in constantly, not even letting the minion wave outside the turret aggro line.
Yeah, it's a very tough spot here for Deus. He's down 2 levels at this point. It's only going to get worse as he backs away. Zion Spartan's going to find a 3rd play off of this, and we already saw Hard has the Rift Herald in his pocket. He can come up and drop it right up here and allow Zion Spartan to push uncontested. So we have another Dragon spawning in just under 2 minutes at this point. You got some big power spikes already starting to come out from the side of Golden Guardian. Zion Spartan should have most of the completed item. Hard has the Warrior's Enchantment on his Stalker's Blade. Whereas if you see Fragus is still sitting on just the Bomby Cinder. Oh, but if they pick Keith, this could be big.
Bot lane hasn't had too much action. This is exactly what they needed, even with a ward. So it doesn't matter to him this time. Keith goes down, 17 seconds on the clock. And that'll be a 2nd death.
Yeah, uh-oh, Deus.
Nice turn.
Nice turn.
You always feel good about that.
Oh, beautiful hook.
Ooh, holds him in. Box goes down late. Chrono Shift is there, but he doesn't want to use it. Dark Passage gets him out safely. Morgana's going to be on the roam up here as Phil may be taking a scary path, but he's looking to help Fragus. They may decide to go mid as the support see each other now, and Zion Spartan doing Zion things. Very reminiscent of how he used to play, and now he just keeps that split push going. So they'll see if he actually relieves the pressure. Once that turret goes down, you get the 1 run towards mid, or whatever happens for Drake in 30 seconds. Rift's going to be there. Oh, he's got the 2nd tier dive. They're going to try to get Tuesday as Tuesday pinches himself in for Fragus. Maybe they call it off. They actually call it off. Blaze Olive didn't get the damage down he wanted, it seemed, and without eyes on Phil, they called that one off.
Yeah, I think this was a little bit premature coming out from Golden Guardians, right? You do have this Ocean Dragon spawning in just a couple of seconds. He blew a couple of big cooldowns for that in both the Rift Herald and Hard's Ultimate. And now, not a lot of health bars on your mid laner. You're going to have to back away and seed this over CLG, which is a win condition we haven't really had a lot of opportunity to talk about here. Oh, Chime, he almost stole it last time. Not going to quite get it this time. Just going to be grabbing onto the Scorpion. That just means we're going to have this Mountain Dragon coming through, and that can do a lot for CLG as this game starts to go later. We talked about the big burst that's available to a Blaze Olive, the ability to play in the side lanes, but all the extra resistances and the shield would do a lot to minimize that as we start to see a little bit more aggression coming out from Fragus, taking away this red buff from Tuesday, supporting him. So we're starting to see this map becoming a little bit lopsided and where people can actually play. Zion Spartan doing a very similar thing in the top half, taking away the chickens, and he knows exactly when the red buff's going to be spawning, so he can go and try and take that right under Deus's nose.
Slides back. Yeah, he's gonna try to do it a few times. Zion's just clearing right now. If CLG can keep control of this bot side of the map, I think it works out really well. It gives Phil a place to roam, it gives Fragus a place to be so they can start getting people locked up with Impale with a quick binding. Fragus is safe with Black Shield. Actually, they're doing a lot better than I thought they would out of the first portion of the game, just due to the way that I figured Zion would be controlling the lane and pull Fracus up. Wind and Phil have fared very well down there for themselves, and now grabbing a kill as soon as they notice Chime rotates, and Keith is alone. So really well planned out here from DLG to start things off.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if they're going to be able to pick it up. Just as we touched on, 2 Dragons already. Dragons 3 and 4, always a huge win condition or denial of a win condition. That's still a couple of minutes away, and now we see Zion Spartan backing, and look at that. Going from having just a Tiamat to having a completed Essence Reaver off of a single back.
Cha-ching!
1 cooldown. Oh, there he goes.
They're on to the mid lane. That's going to be Tuesday going down almost immediately. And that wasn't even a chrono shift. It was a box, an ignite, a lantern, a collateral down. Oh my word, the speed of that. Tuesday couldn't even blink. His flash is still down, so they were great to repeat on that mid lane. Damage here onto Fracus. Crowd control blocked by the Black Shield as they keep peppering this turret with a bit of damage. And Zion has not had to join yet. They take CLG by surprise after it seemed like CLG was kind of taking that flow into their favor. Instantly back in favor of Golden Guardians. They're using momentum from the LCS team, man. It's almost fair. They just turn fights here, and they're just crushing. So second Rift Herald is going to be theirs as well. That'll drop mid immediately, if they even want that. But bottom could just be a setup so they can take mid and bot and be done with it.
Yeah, it's not out of the question at this point that Golden Guardians could have a 6-0 day after taking down TSM, as we're going to see this one more time. Chime just going over the wall, and he just had no idea whatsoever. There's so much damage, the crowd control is there, the damage is there, and they're able to take him down. They haven't dropped the Rift Herald just quite yet, but it also shows just how dangerous it is for CLG members to be on their own against such a powerful diving composition from the Golden Guardians. And now Deus down 40 CS, down only a level, so that's improved a little bit since last time we checked in there, but he doesn't have his completed Trinity Force just quite yet, and down 2,000 gold up against Zion Spartan, and it doesn't really get easier as this game goes longer, because Zion's going to be able to kill you in fewer auto attacks.
Wild seeing that trend come in. Pick number 4 for Golden Guardians. Then you see the Skarner come in, saying, hey, we actually need some crowd control to lock down the Tryndamere. Oh, well, we have a little bit of Morgana, but that's not going to last forever. So if Zion gets any bigger, this is going to be gross. I mean, he might not even have to fight. He might just take top into the next one by himself. A big grab onto Fracus for a moment. Hard's going to get himself out. Oh, nice dodge on the collateral damage. Fracus putting the moves on is the Scorpion right now. Chime getting blocked for Keith here. I said this was going to happen the other way around, but big man Keith able to block those ones out, and Wind will not come up with the kill. So Counter Logic Gaming finding those skirmish fights, and Fracus able to make work of a fight on Hard.
Yeah, and it's really important that they pick up his flash as well, because with the Dragon coming up with only 30 seconds, that's an opportunity to just pick the jungler right away. But there's an ultimate getting blown from Tuesday. So just as we say that, ultimate's getting blown from both sides. We talked about how important this Dragon can really be for both teams. And I'd be expecting some people to start backing away, getting their buys in. You see Deus just picked up his Trinity Force right here, and he's going to be joining the rest of his team. Both AD carries actually sitting on a Storm Razor. They're kind of chasing each other around at the moment, but yeah, look for a couple teleports coming through as we already see.
Ooh, Shirelia's Reverie here from Chime. Where's he going? He almost dips in a little too far for his own good. Nobody can follow up on that hook, though, as he does want to hit it, but takes half of his HP bar in the process. Predator's on. That scares away Golden Guardians for now. And looks like Echo's ultimate is up as we see the clone running away. Hard's going to fire that Herald mid. So they take mid. That will not die before it takes out that turret. And it looks like they'll be able to fight here a little bit for what is Drake.
They find Chime. Frogget.
Plays Olive. He puts the Paralock Convergence down. Hard's in there, but he's got to be careful of his positioning. Quick draw over the back of the wall could be his exit. 5 now from both teams at Drake. This is the first time we've had this. Can Zion Spartan get to the backside? He's looking to get over the wall here, and he could mocking shout the entire team. He doesn't get him on as they turn towards him, but that undying rage is fulfilled, and he's able to just whomp down Phil real quick. Chime's taking a bit of damage from the soldiers. Drake is going to be going over to the side of Golden Guardians as they get another kill over onto Deus. Ablaze Olive is chasing down the phase dive in. Another one comes in, and he starts whacking back and forth. Here comes out the chrono shift, the time break, and he's back. Oh, he dodges the Emperor's Divide as Tuesday tries to time it. But in the nick of time, always Ablaze Olive coming out on top.
What a chaotic fight there, Riv. All across, people finding flanks, people finding these small outplays, and it goes hugely in favor of the Golden Guardians as we take another look. Zion Spartan comes around the back here, and this Mocking Shout denies a BF sort of AD off of every single member of the team, and that crit coming through with a headshot from Keith, blowing people up. Now, Blaze Olive at this point, there's not a lot of damage left from these guys. Wynn trying to find his way in, and unfortunately flashes a little bit late here, or too early as the case may be, as Blaze Olive just able to walk away. It's a miracle Frogus survived as well, but just all of these small plays just going slightly wrong for CLG is going to be giving a 6,000 gold lead over to the Golden Guardians at this point. The bottom lane turret goes down, and now who is this? This is Tuesday hiding in the bush. Be careful, because he's got no mana, and Zion Spartan is a monster.
Just cutting down the grass as he flies in on that spin move.
Like
he's getting out of control, and I think he had that confidence coming in. Looking at the composition, looking at the crowd control, he said, I'm going to be able to just be unrelentless and go after each one of my opponents. Starting that fight from the backside of Blue, of CLG, he just dashes over the wall knowing he'd be safe with his team's follow-up, and they were right there behind him. 7-4. 3 turrets to 0 now in favor of Golden Guardians. Deus getting the Proto Belt top here from Ablaze Olive. That cooldowns will keep phase dive on him for a bit as he goes for the 1, 2, 3. Few more Qs, few more hits. Maybe this one's for Keith as he needs a bit. 90 caliber net to get himself into range, and he will pick that one up for himself.
Yeah, unfortunate for Deus, the flash wasn't going to be enough. I feel for this man at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's been all game.
Yeah, he's gotten dived a couple times. This time they're just playing with him, making sure that the gold goes on to the right targets. He hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to really play this Gangplank like he wants to. He has finished the call, at least, so he does have gold. He is still Gangplank, so the parlay is going to get him a little bit richer than he would otherwise be. But at this point, the people he's fighting just so much stronger. As Frogus, potentially fighting hard.
Ooh. See how much grit he has in this fight. Can the hook save him? No, it cannot, and this Chime sealed his own fate on this. 4th shot, boom! 470 damage, going to win. But the kill picked up by Phil. Kill share, not kill steal, by the way, supports me. Keith looking to just be a nuisance here. Ooh, dodges the binding, nice job, quick feet, even though his boots are filled with water right now. Well, I guess he's in the pool mode, so it's cool. He likes being by the pool. Can they steal this, though, Joshi? That's the question. Zion's going to be here to flex his muscles. Ablaze on the other side. Parallel Convergence into the fight. That's going to be on the back line damage dealers. Here comes Death's Daughter and the Cannon Barrage from Deus, and they're able to get a kill on both sides. Damage onto Deus and Fragus. Fragus now into the pit as Zion Spartan Undying Rage is locked in. He cleanses that one off, trying to get a few more kills, and he starts getting the ones that he wanted with Tiamat and the rest of the swipes. There's the kill for Keith. Keith's going to get rooted up here by the bind, but he's going to be able to follow possibly the net just over the wall. No, he flashes. Now going to get more headshots in the brush. That's an ace in the hole. That's Keith. That's a quadra kill for Golden Guardians.
Oh, they have the people coming up at just the right time. Hard is here to pick them up the Baron, and yet another huge fight going in favor of the Golden Guardians. And because it's going to take them long enough, they're going to be able to get the Baron buff onto Ablaze Olive as well. Oh man, all right, when the replay comes up, Riv, because you know what's happening in just a moment, I want to point out something really cool that Ablaze Olive actually did in order to make this fight possible. Because you notice his teleport isn't up, and it wasn't up at the time of the fight. As we see this going down, Zion Spartan even gets the big purple buff as well. We'll take another look at it in just a moment. Now here, the Blaze Olive, oh, we already missed it, but he backed and used his ultimate to get back as a functional teleport so that he could get on to win. Now, because he doesn't have it, he goes down a little bit earlier in this fight, but look at Keith during this entire time, Zion Spartan's pulling so much aggro from everyone. Everyone's walking away, everybody's getting low, and Keith, even though he's on this power trap that the Caitlyn normally is in, is able to free fire the entire time. And Phil thinks he might be safe with this binding, but no. Flashes after, has the red buff, picks up a quadra kill, and this Caitlyn, who is not as strong in the mid game, is suddenly on 2 items. Suddenly, he's got a huge influx of gold, and an 8,000 gold. His Tuesday just has the ult. Zion Spartan did not die.
No, he's not stopping. He knows because that second swipe wasn't going to gain aggro, and he could easily push Tuesday off past his ultimate. This is not going to happen next game. I don't think the Trend's going to have anything done with it. Crowd control will be picked up on the side of CLG, but it would be hilarious to see Zion Spartan trying to just pick that again, even within the comp CLG puts together with CC. Shirelius for both sides. Crowd, we expect Quicksilver sashes across the board. It's like they had a Groupon over here on the side for Golden Guardians. 3 picked up already, and they didn't even go for the Summoner Spell cleanse. Right? Nobody's unsealed Spellbook. It's no something. They knew they could get to this point, and they would just shut down Fragus with a few purchases.
Yeah,
they were confident.
Oh, Tuesday's got to be careful. He does have the phase dive followed real quick, but Keith going to be able to split, and this is the map state that Golden Guardians want. We said they wanted to split the map. We said they didn't necessarily want to look for these team fights. With the Baron buff on all of their members, these waves are so difficult to deal with. Blaze Olive can keep going in and out until he gets hooked.
Yep, until he gets, right to the turret. Delivered. But remember, Chrono Shift. Well, Hook almost coming in from Chime here as he was going to ring the dinner bell for the rest of the team. Zion Spartan pushing Deus out of his base as last turret shot hits. Ace in the hole comes through. Zion mocking shout as he goes back. He gets the shot. But he's getting taken down as well. Tit for tat. And the retribution kills coming through for CLG and Golden Guardians. Another one rooted fine. In front of the turret, that's going to be Chime, and now he almost gets locked down. He flashes out very quick. Now Fragus is the caboose of the fight, and he's going to get derailed on this one. The Dark Binding misses. Tuesday's the next one on the dinner plate, and that's Golden Guardians just picking off Counter Logic Gaming one after the other.
Did they end the game here? There are 3 members of CLG dead. Teleport coming through, so they're going to have a full HP Echo to play with. I think this might be the game, Riv. Game 1 potentially going to Golden Guardians.
Nexus turret going down. They are just throwing abilities out willy-nilly left and right here. Golden Guardian shining bright here as they try to follow the LCS team's momentum, and they will take game 1 against Counter Logic Gaming Academy.
Wow, what a first game, Riv. I'm so excited for what Golden Guardians are showing us, and you know it's putting that in the mind of CLG. You can't just let this Tryndamere go through the ban phase ever again. You gotta make sure you are on point with your drafting, because Golden Guardians, props to Raz for coming up with this and allowing your team to have such a dominant start to the series.
Yeah, a lot of things for these teams here is just coming through on the side of Golden Guardians being top lane proficient, mid lane proficient. Keith playing a little loose in the beginning half that got himself killed, and then finding that they could just go into the fight phase. And again, the quadra kill for Keith basically is Tryndamere running around allowing Keith to just be like, hey, look, I'm over here, pew, 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 and then nobody looking at Keith. So Zion Spartan having such a stellar game. Probably MVP for me so far throughout the start of the games. And they gave him all the pressure to start with, right? Him and a Blaze Olive, once they hit 6, they said, Deus, we're going to make your life a living hell.
And they did that so effectively. It's so good for this. Like, look at this. You don't think of Tryndamere as a team fighter, but he comes in, he slows an entire team, he gets a kill on his way through, he's making so many plays around the map that, yeah, it's hard for anybody else on the team to even live up to that, partly because he's just coming out with such a big surprise. And I just have to say, I mean, I'm not the AD carry player, but when I'm listening to my AD carry player saying like, hey, I'm free hitting, nobody's touching me, nobody's looking at me, and suddenly they end up with a quadra kill, I know I've done my job, even if I'm not the one getting all the gold because of it. So it's a good feeling. I'm excited to see what else they can bring, because we know that's not his only champion by a long shot.
Right, and maybe we'll see Counter Logic Gaming come out with the engage comps next time. They were trying to engage on all fronts. The last fight we saw that ended the game with Golden Guardians just being able to pick poke. It was a return fire, which was pretty sweet, right? They kept returning fire, but Golden Guardians just continue to make these fights theirs.
Yeah, and Yeah, I'm excited because, again, this isn't the team fighting composition from Golden Guardians. This is a split pushing composition that they just happen to be so far ahead with that they can take a lot of these team fights. Pew, pew. And I think, you know, to CLG's credit, there were a lot of opportunities for them to look really good. They were playing a style in the mid-game that they wanted to. They were able to get a lot of these team fights to start, but unfortunately, they made some small mechanical misplays here and there. They got flanked by Zion Spartan, but that's still a good sign. The decisions were generally good. They just flubbed the execution, and that's a lot easier to fix. It's a lot easier to say, oh, next time we're going to have a ward over this wall, so we're not going to get jumped on into the backline immediately. Oh, just flash slightly later. That's a thing that you can pretty easily change, but the decision-making, I think, was mostly sound from CLG, and so if they clean up just a couple small parts from the game, we're going to have a real series on our hands, Riv.
Yeah, absolutely. CLG picking red. What do you make of this? Should the counter pick be mid? Should the counter pick be top? How do you think they should play it out?
I'm hoping it's going over to the top lane, honestly. Like Deus, we've been seeing him on a lot of Ornn this split, but the Vladimir, Gangplank are both things that you can bring into a lot of champions that Zion Spartan likes to bring out. You can play some of these safer early games as long as you know that Zion Spartan's going to let you. So I'm hoping that Deus can have a little bit more agency in the game and actually get to play a little bit instead of just getting dove 3 or 4 times in a row.
And there will be no subs. It does seem like everybody feels comfortable with the way things went on both sides. They're going to go into this next game with everything that they had in the first one and maybe a little bit of a different composition for the side of CLG. I like the fact that they tried something, but it definitely feel like they went too far away from what even worked for them throughout the split. They were getting under the skin of their opponents, under turrets, very early in the game and controlling the entire game. The composition they had there needed to control the mid game and hope the early game was theirs, and that's not the way it worked out. So Golden Guardians currently leads now 1-0 in this playoffs best-of-5 series. We're going to be right back after the break. Wow, words are hard with Game 1, and I'm going to get some more water. We'll see you then. Woo.
Verizon knows how to build unlimited right. You start with America's most awarded network, the one with unbeatable reliability 13 times in a row.
This network is one less thing I have to worry about.
Then you give people more plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need.
Verizon Unlimited plan is so reasonable, they could stay on for the rest of their lives.
You include the best in entertainment, and you offer it all starting at $35, because everyone deserves the best. This is Unlimited built right, only on Verizon.